How can ordinary people change the game? That's the question, and this is the answer. Ordinary people become extraordinary leaders when they are driven by unselfish hearts. That's where the change takes place. I have this opportunity today to speak to all of you simply because of a game changer in my life. My great aunt was that game changer. I grew up in the 50s, 60s, born in the late 40s. My world was legally segregated. It's the only world I knew. Picking, chopping cotton, working the fields of the Delta, hangover and after part of slavery, that was the world that was mine. That was the world that I thought I would know for the rest of my life. But my great aunt was determined that I'd get an education, and that required a lot of unselfishness on her part. I had to travel to high school 100 miles round trip every day for 4 years. I never missed a day out of school, graduated valedictorian of my class, because my great aunt would get up every morning before I would. She would stand on the front porch in a flannel gown and a head rag, and she would pull the string on a 60-watt light bulb. That was her signal to the bus driver that I was going to school that day. The bus driver never missed, my great aunt never missed, and neither one allowed me to miss. And today I can say I'm a graduate of O'Bannon High School, Greenville, Mississippi, valedictorian of my class because my great aunt was the game changer. Unselfishness makes ordinary people extraordinary leaders. You know, but she was not the only game changer. There were game changers throughout all of our lives. Average, ordinary people who became extraordinary because of the unselfishness that drove their acts. 2021 is an incredible year. It is also the commemoration of the 1921 race massacre and the devastation of Black Wall Street. We didn't expect Black Wall Street to be as significant as it was. Why? Because these men and women had just been released from slavery 30 or 40 years earlier, and now they have built a place that's an economic powerhouse. It was absolutely incredible. However, it wouldn't last forever. In 1921, May 30th, May 31st, and June 1st, Black Wall Street was totally destroyed, wiped off the face of the earth. And this is why, if we have a future that is racially just, that this will not happen again. When we're talking about Black Wall Street was destroyed in 48 hours. Everything that they had built, and they had built an incredible place. The hotels that they had built, the churches that were like cathedrals, they had hundreds of retail businesses that existed. All of these things were beyond belief because Mr. Stratford, who built the Stratford Hotel, he was born in 1861, born into slavery. But yet he had become a lawyer and an incredible entrepreneur. And this is what was left for us to look at, to admire, and to appreciate. But now it's gone. Destruction is sort of like death. It's very difficult to talk about what you had when all of a sudden it's no longer there. And for me, it reminds me of a time in my life in July of 1995. My wife and I had a little daughter, 7 years old. I went to sleep that night with the idea that I would wake up on July 4th and Aunt Catherine would be just fine. But she wasn't. She passed away in the night. So I know the feeling of sudden death, of destruction of your dreams, when all you have left are memories. Yes, that is what happened to us, and that is what happened on Black Wall Street. However, we had to learn how to become champions. For Aunt Catherine, we created a fund in her name, and we raised money throughout the country. And every year we send kids from Oklahoma with the sickle cell disease to camp in memory of our daughter. And similarly, for the Black Wall Street builders, the scorched earth was there, the rubble was there, but they brought their tenacity, their courage, and their perseverance, and they began to build again. And by 1926, they had almost completely rebuilt Black Wall Street. It's amazing what can happen when unselfish hearts come together and become a team that can come back to win. But there are issues that still remain in our country: social unrest, political unrest, racial disturbances, unjustified deaths. There are so many things that remain, not unlike it was in 1863, when Abraham Lincoln stood at Gettysburg and made this incredible speech. But I remember one line of the speech that I think is just as important in 2021 as it was in 1863. "We are engaged in a great war," says Mr. Lincoln, "testing whether that nation or any nation, so conceived and so dedicated, can long endure. Well, the endurance of the nation does not depend upon the monuments that surround the Potomac, but they depend upon ordinary people just like us. They depend upon us to become the champions of the cause, to build the right culture, one where everyone is respected, affirmed, and included." Speaking of champions and championship cultures and how important that is to winning, how important that is to keeping the crowd with you, there's none better than Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls. I remember my very first time watching Michael Jordan play. When he came out on the court at San Antonio, thousands of people just cheered. It was the sound was so overwhelming that I couldn't even hear my heartbeat. All I could see were thousands of people in the name, Michael Jordan, Michael Jordan, Michael Jordan, Michael Jordan. But then the buzzer sound. And when the buzzer sound, the team came onto the floor with him. And that helped me to realize and to remember that it is the team that wins the game. And so it is in life and the things we want to change and make better in our world. It is the team that wins the game. So how do we ensure a racially just world? We must become a team of game changers. The first thing I want you to think about is join with unselfish others along the way, because this will boast your unselfishness. Secondly, embrace and practice the unselfish habits of your heart. Know what these habits are, practice them, and become them for the benefit of others. And lastly, remember, we, me, you, we are the ordinary people. We are the game changers we see. And always remember to look to history as a guide as we march forward. History is indeed a great teacher, but we must attend class.
Well, this brings us to the end of an exciting few hours, lots of different ideas, lots of ways to make change, but ultimately it comes down to each and every one of us. From believing in people, to seeking mental health, to ensuring more diversity in everything we offer, to truly thinking of inclusion at all levels. It is for each one of us to make a difference, because what I've always believed is that one person with strength of character is a majority. One voice that speaks up against injustice can start a movement, and every one of us here looking to make a difference can change lives. So wherever you are, whatever you do, every small action matters, because collectively then we can all create a racially just future. Thank you all and be well. Until next year.